It's two. Okay, so we're going to take a break from grammar in the binder. We're going to talk about the testing. So some of you have done it, some of you haven't done it yet. I don't know what you're going to get on the test as far as what kind of essay you're going to write, but I will tell you that for the language arts part of the test, there's two parts. There's the reading, and then you're going to answer questions about what you read, and then there's writing. And so the reading part, like I said last week, some of the questions are going to be super easy and you're going to know the answer, easy peasy cheesy. Some of the questions are going to be harder. And some of the questions are going to be so hard that you don't know what the answer is. And that's okay. That might happen to you. You might get a question, you might go, uh-oh, I don't know what this means. I don't even know what the answer is. I want you to try to see if you can figure out the answer. And then if you have to, just pick one and move on. It's okay because you're going to have a lot of questions. And it's okay if you need to just pick one and move on. I want you to try, but if you get stuck, don't get stuck too long, okay? Because it's a long test. You're going to be sitting there for at least 2 hours. Yes, long time. That's okay because you can do it, and I believe in you, and you're ready for this, okay? So you might get different types of essays on the test. I'm not sure which one you're going to get because they don't ever tell us ahead of time. It's like a surprise. So this is not in your packet, so don't try to look for this. I'm just showing you this page because I'm going to put it in the Google Classroom for you. These are the types of essays you might get on the test. You might get one that's called an opinion essay. And that type of an essay is when you express an opinion about something, like dogs are better than cats, or cats are better than dogs. Now, it's not like a scientific fact, but it's the way you feel. Maybe you like dogs better than cats, or you like cats better than dogs, or you like them both. That's okay too. You would give your opinion about that. It's how you feel. And these are some key words you would use, like my opinion is, or I believe, or I think, those types of words. Some essays are this one, informative explanatory essays. That's the one we're going to practice today because that's the most common one on the test, where you read an article and then you have to explain what you learned from the article. You did that for Marco Polo, you did that for Antarctica, you did that for desert reptiles, you did that for deserts. You guys know how to write these types of essays, the informative, explanatory, and you're probably going to get one like that. But I want to share all of them just in case. You might get one that's called narrative essays. That one is a story. That is a made up story. Do you guys remember? Give me a thumbs up if you remember the story sequence chart. Guys, remember when we did that? Okay, good. I see some thumbs up. Sawyer? Oh, you got some thumbs up. Good, good. So yes, that was when we talked about characters and setting in one box. Then we talked about the problem and the conflict in the other box. And then the third box was the climax and resolution. So it's how we build a story and it's made up. So you might have that kind of an essay. Those are kind of fun where you get to make up what happens. So then down here, these are for the older grades. Um, so you don't need to worry about these. It's going to be probably one of these. You do need to have 2 pieces of lined paper with you right now. So make sure you have 2 pieces of blank paper like that. Go ahead and get that out. And then you need a pen or a pencil. It's up to you which you like best. Either one. This, when you're doing the test, this is called scratch paper. We talked about it last week. For math, you use it to work out your math problems. For writing, you're going to use it to build your keyword outline. We're also going to make a homemade checklist. You guys have checklists all the time for your work in my class, but you're going to make your own checklist for the test. So like we did last week, go ahead and put dress ups right here. And you're going to make a checklist for yourself. So go ahead and start writing down who remembers something on your checklist. You can raise your hand, Ashlyn.
Strong verbs.
Strong verbs, and they can go in any order. It does not matter what order. So let's put that one first. Strong verbs. What else? Sawyer?
Um, I what I like the most is the who which clause.
Good. That's a good one. Who slash which. Put that. What else? What else is on our checklist? Do you guys remember? Ashlyn, think of another one.
Y adverbs.
LY adverb. London, can you think of one?
Because class.
Ooh, good one. Because I'm just going to write because. And then Julio, you know another one?
Quality adjective.
Yes, quality adjective. Now, if you don't remember some of these, like I said, it's okay. The more of these that you can put in your writing, the higher your score is going to be. So try to get these in there if you can. If you can't, that's okay too. Okay, just try your best to get these in there. This is a homemade checklist. So what I want you to do is put little boxes here. Sawyer, for some reason, is echoing on yours. So can you mute for me? I can hear my echoing for some reason. There we go. That's better. Put little check boxes right here. You're making your own homemade checklist. This is when you sit down to do the writing part. You're going to set this up. And then look, you've got your own checklist ready to go. Strong verbs, who, which, ly, because, quality adjective. Okay. Now, everybody got that written down? Give me a thumbs up if you got that ready. Okay, good. Are you writing it down too, London? Good. And I know you already did the test, but it's good practice anyway. On your next clean piece of paper, go ahead and get the second one out. Sawyer?
Can I see the quality adjective?
Sorry.
Because
Yes.
I didn't finish yet.
Okay, go ahead. I'll leave it there for a second. That's an I. And if you don't remember how to spell quality, that's okay. You just put what you remember. It's okay. Okay, got it? Okay, good. Now on the second piece of clean paper that you have, let's start building your outline. We're just going to start with Roman numeral 1, and then I want you to do 1 through 5. Skip a line, Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5. Roman numeral 3, 1 through 5. You're going to focus on 3 paragraphs. And I will tell you that you will have 3 articles to read, 3 different ones. Remember when we did desert reptiles and you had one article that was all about the Mojave rattlesnake and the Gray's monitor? Each article was a separate animal. So you're going to have 3 separate articles to read on the test, and they're called sources. So in the margin here, that's this side of the line, the red line. I want you to put next to the Roman numeral 1, I want you to put source number 1, like that. That's a number sign, by the way. Source number 1. And then this one, number 2, is going to be source number 2. And then for the Roman numeral 3, you probably guessed it, it's going to be source number 3. Just squeeze it in there. I know it's kind of small. It's okay. This will help you be organized and ready for writing if you keep track of what source goes with what Roman numeral. So basically, everything from source 1 is going to go here under Roman numeral 1. Everything from source 2 is going to go right here next to source or Roman numeral 2. Everything from source 3 is going to go right here next to Roman numeral 3. Super easy for you to keep track of your information. This is how you should set it up when you do the test. Yes, Ashlyn?
When we do like the test, do we just do it not double spaced, probably?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about double space. That's a good question. Yep. And the other thing, since you mentioned that, you don't have to underline your dress ups either for the test. That's only for my class. Try to get them all in there, but you don't have to worry about underlining them. And then like the topic clinchers, you don't have to highlight all that stuff. Just try to get them in there. Okay. Good questions though. All right. So we're going to start with source 1. Now let's look at your packet. The first page of the packet here. You're going to notice some icons up here at the top of your page. Those are tools that you get on the test. And it's really good to sit down with one of your parents or grandparents, whoever's with you, helping you, and practice what the tools are on the test. I emailed all of your parents a link to a practice test online. And that way you can kind of play around with the tools and see how to use things. And that way you're familiar with it when you go to actually take the test. Then you're going to see where it says student directions. This one says animals and their surroundings, informational performance task. So this is the type of paper you're going to write is about animals and their surroundings. And then you see that word task. That's what your assignment is right here. It says, your school's science fair is taking place soon. Your class has decided to focus on doing science projects about animals. You become interested in learning more about where animals live. You have found 3 sources about this topic in your school library or in the school library. That next paragraph is telling you a little bit more about how the test is laid out. So, like I said earlier, you're going to read these sources, and then the first part of this is answering questions. Then the second part of it is writing your paper, and that's the part we're going to practice together. Okay. So I'm going to skip down here to where it says source 1. You guys see that? Source 1. And from what the task said, the task says you're going to do 2 things. You're going to write about animals and their surroundings or where they live. Okay, so animals and where they live. That's what you're focusing on for your paper. It's going to be pretty easy like that. And the next step here is to read the sources. This is source number 1. It says you have found an article that describes how animals survive in different environments, the places where plants and animals live. But the task said animals. So we're going to focus on animals and where they live. I'm just going to keep going. If you guys have any questions in the meantime, let me know. Raise your hand because this is a lot to read. So when you do the test by yourself, you're going to have to read it by yourself. But for today, I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to look at your paper and follow along with me. Okay? Just in your head, you can listen and read with me. This is called It's a Cold, Hot, Dry, Dark, Cruel World. That's the name of this article or this source. So it says, living creatures survive in all types of environments. Each environment creates different challenges for animals that live there. Some living creatures survive at the bottom of the sea where it is dark as night and very cold. Other plants and animals live in dry, hot environments. People can use tools like flashlights or fans to help them survive. Animals and plants, however, must rely on nature to help them survive. So far, I don't hear any specific animals yet. You're not writing about people, even though it talks about people in here. You're going to focus on your task. The task says animals and where they live. Okay, so keep going till we hear about animals. Near the South Pole in Antarctica, it is very cold. It is usually about minus 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so Antarctica is much colder than ice. Scientists live at the South Pole, but they live in buildings with thick walls and heating. What do animals do? Well, we haven't heard about any specific ones yet, but I think we will in the next paragraph. I'm at the very bottom here. Some animals have bodies that help them live in the cold. The ice fish, there we go. This is the first animal that's mentioned now. The ice fish lives in water so cold that even in summer, chunks of ice continue to float in the water. How do ice fish keep from freezing? The only way ice fish can survive in this page, extreme environment. This is the page with this picture, so make sure you find that one. Is because they have a special substance in their blood that keeps ice crystals from forming inside their bodies. That is pretty cool. That's ice fish. Okay, so that's the first animal we learned about. And let's keep going. Penguins. All right, our second animal here. Penguins have thick layers of fat or blubber to help them stay warm. But sometimes even that is not enough. Often, penguins must rely on each other for survival. They cuddle up together as close as they can to share their body heat. That's cute. Another area, and Sawyer, make sure you're reading this on your paper with me, okay? So look at your paper too. Another area that can be hard to live is the dry, hot desert. People who live in the desert often wear special clothes to protect them from the heat. When they build homes, they have air conditioners to keep them cool and to find water. They dig wells that provide water from deep in the ground. How do animals survive in the hot, dry conditions? Many desert animals come out only at night when it's cool. Snakes, lizards, mice, and squirrels live in burrows. During the day, they stay under the ground and out of the sun. In the hot Sonoran Desert of Arizona, an owl lives in a nest that sits on a tall cactus. The cactus stems store water. Rain doesn't fall often in the Sonoran Desert, but when it does, it falls quickly and heavily. Ooh, there's some good LY words right there. Then the water quickly flows away. The cactus has roots that spread out only inches below the surface of the soil. The roots are like a big sponge, soaking up rainwater fast. Now the cactus can store water for months, and the owl has a nice home high up in the cactus. And there's a picture of the owl inside the cactus. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Here's a little more. The ocean has very different challenges from those of the desert. The deepest part of the ocean are very dark and cold because the sun's rays are unable to shine through all the layers of water. Some of the very deepest parts of the ocean have thermal vents on the ocean floor that are like little volcanoes under the sea. The water coming out of the vents is very hot. Crabs survive at the bottom of the sea by scurrying around the vents looking for food. Arctic chill, desert sun, and cold, pitch dark ocean. These are difficult conditions that would be hard for people to survive. But nature gives plants and animals the ability to live almost anywhere. Okay, so we heard about a few animals. We heard about ice fish, penguins, owls, and a little bit about crabs here in the ocean. So we have a lot of animals to choose from to write about. So I noticed that the first one that they mentioned is the ice fish, and I think it's pretty cool about how their blood is special. So for me, I'm going to start talking about that one. It's at the very bottom of that front page. So next to source one, this is what I would put Antarctica, because we want to talk about where they live. And these are called ice fish. It's a compound word, ice and fish. And it's cold there. So I'm just going to put cold because it talked about how cold it was. Okay. And then we also learned about their blood. Remember that part? I think that was on the next page. They have a special substance in their blood that keeps ice crystals from forming inside their bodies. How can we put that? Let's see. I think I would put, I'm going to help you with this. Oh, you got a question, Sawyer? Go ahead.
No, I thought of a way we could put that
Okay.
substance
Okay.
um forming in blood, and then we could just um draw a little crystal next to forming.
Yes, I like that. I think I might, I don't know if we need substance. I know we need special. So maybe we could do, actually, you know what? Let's do special. I like your idea. And then substance, that just means like a part of their blood. And then blood. And then I like your idea of, I don't know how to draw a crystal, but I'm going to just kind of go like that. It's like spiky. And then I'm going to X it out. That's what I'm thinking, but I like your idea too, Sawyer. I like that. So that's what's special about the ice fish. Okay. What is another, let me ask you guys a question. What is another animal that was mentioned in this first article, the first source? What's another animal that you heard about? London?
Penguins.
Penguins. Yes, good. And we could write about them next because they're also in Antarctica. How do penguins stay warm, London? Do you remember what it said about that?
They huddle together.
Yeah, what if we put penguins? I like that part. Penguins cuddle together. That part was cute. Sawyer?
But how are we going to put the blubber, the fat?
Yeah, we can either put that next or we don't have to include that. Remember, when you're writing an essay like this, you're not going to put everything. It's like you're only putting SOME, some things, right? So it's up to you if you want to put that next or you want to put the blubber and fat for number two and then how they cuddle for number three. That's okay too. So you can set up your keyword outline however you want to set it up. That's a good question, though. What's another animal, Ashlyn, that we learned about in that source? Uh-oh, she went away. Anybody else think of another animal that we heard about? Okay, London, what did you hear? What do you think?
A little bit of um, a little bit of it about crabs.
A little bit about crabs, right? We did. That part was down here in the ocean and how they survive at the bottom of the sea. So maybe we could put crabs, bottom, sea. Remember, you're focusing on animals and where they live. So those are the biggest things you need to remember as you're coming up with this. The other thing I want to remind you, oh, Ashlyn, I know you got something happened for a second there. Go ahead.
Wasn't there one about like an owl? Like,
Yes, yes, there was. So you can write about the owl next. I'm going to let you guys fill in something about the owl and where the owl lives. But notice how we read the first source and then we worked on the outline. So that's a skill that I want you to use during the test. Just read one source at a time and fill it in. Okay. And then after you fill in source one, we're going to move on to source two. So when you're taking the test, that's how I want you guys to do it. So you're not trying to remember where it came from or anything like that. You're just going to read source one, do your outline. Read source two, do your outline. Read source three, do your outline. So Julio, what two words did you put next to owl? Did you think of any yet? Where does the owl live?
I put lives cactus.
Okay, good. Owl lives cactus. And I think right here for number 5, we should talk maybe about how the owl is in Arizona. Because it lives in
I
a
did the
cactus.
same thing.
Oh, good. Yay. Okay. Because we want to make sure we're not talking about Antarctica anymore or the sea. Now we're talking about Arizona. London?
I wrote the same thing too.
Oh, good. You guys are so smart. I love it. So you can think of 3 right there about Arizona. Okay. Let's move on to source 2 because we want to make sure we have plenty of time to read all the sources and at least get some words down here. So source 2, you can see after, by the way, I meant to tell you about this. This is just like references to where they found the information. You can see websites here. You don't necessarily have to read that part. You can skip over that. This is just telling you where that information came from. And then you're going to see source 2. And like I said, this is all going to be on the computer. So when you're scrolling on the computer, you'll get to where it says source 2, and then you'll read that part next. Okay. This is on paper, but you know what I mean. It says you have found an article from Appleseeds magazine that describes how some animals build their homes. And it says animal architects. An architect in real life, in the human life, is someone who designs and builds houses and other buildings. But they're talking about animals. Okay, so let's turn the page. This is the next one. And you're going to see this picture right here. This is actually a picture of a termite mound. And it's like if you were to cut it open and look inside, that's how it would look. All these little tunnels and stuff inside there. So we're going to learn about that in a minute, but this is the beginning of article 2 or source 2. It says everybody needs a home, and you guys follow along on your paper while I read. Homes protect us from weather and keep us safe and comfortable. Animals are no exception. Humans live in a wide variety of structures. Around the world, people have designed and built their homes to suit their particular needs and ways of life. Animals do the same. In addition to making living spaces, people and animals build their other structures, bridges, dams, traps, and storage areas. These structures help people and animals survive. People and animals both use different materials and methods for their constructions. They build with wood, weave with fibers and vines, dig into the earth, and mold out of mud. From sky-high nests to elaborate or fancy tunnels, the amazing works of animal architects or building designers rival those of the greatest human engineers. Let's take a look at some. Beavers, here we go, the first animal in this article. Remember, you're looking for animals and where they live, okay? So when you see an animal, that's a clue. You're going to put that in your keyword outline. Beavers build lodges along the banks of lakes and ponds. Using branches they chewed apart themselves, beavers begin by building a cone-shaped frame. Then they fill in the gaps with mud and leaves. The entrance to the lodge is always at the bottom, underwater, so beavers can come and go without being seen by predators. In addition to their lodges, beavers build dams. Water builds up behind the dams, creating flooded areas that are ideal places for beavers to find food. The flooding areas also provide pools for other wildlife. Termites, here's another animal. This is more of an insect, but still still an animal. Termites build 20-foot high mounds. Whoa, 20 feet? That's like as high as your house. How do they do that? And then it says out of dirt and their own saliva. Wow. I think these are not in California though, because I've never seen a mound that big. Probably in other places in the world. These giant structures are like small apartment buildings. Besides living areas, these towers have food storage areas, nurseries for baby termites, a special chamber for the king and queen, and even gardens. A chamber is like a room, it says. All right, so that's that's the mound. So that's got to be crazy tall, 20 feet. That's inside the view of a termite mound. All right, another animal at the bottom of this page, wombats. Have you guys heard of wombats before? Yeah, some of you? No? Okay. Wombats dig huge underground burrows that can be 100 feet long. Whoa. Wombat tunnels are elaborate with many entrances, side tunnels, and resting chambers. Inside the burrow, sleeping nests are built on raised platforms to keep them dry in case of flooding. Often, several burrows are connected, creating structures so huge they can actually be seen from space. What? They must have a special way to see underground from space, I guess. I don't know how they do that, but anyway, keep going. There's a little bit more on the next page. This page shows the wombat. He's cute. A little bit more here. Oh, we're going to talk about the bald eagle. That's cool. Bald eagles build massive nests, 4 to 5 feet across and 3 to 6 feet deep, high in tall trees. They use their beaks and amazingly strong talons or claws to break branches and twigs for nest material. Like beavers, eagles begin by building a stick frame. Then they weave in smaller branches and twigs for added strength and protection. Finally, eagles line their nests with grasses and other soft material to make them comfy. Take a look around you. You may find other examples of amazing animal architecture. And then here's the sources, so you don't need to worry about that part. Okay, now we've got beavers, termites, we got wombats and bald eagles. Yes, Ashlyn.
The wombat kind of looks like a pig.
It does, although it has a little bit more hair, I think. Maybe not. It does look like a little pig. It's kind of fat. It's cute though. Fat and short. All right, so for here, I'm going to start with the beavers. I heard a lot of interesting stuff about the beavers, and it said that the beavers are they make their homes in the lakes and ponds, near the lakes and ponds, on the banks of lakes and ponds. So I think I'm going to start with beavers. And you know that word banks? Have you guys heard that before as far as like with water? Yeah, not banks like that have money, because those are also banks, but this is like banks on the side of the river or water. So I'm going to put banks and then lake. And then I would write one more for regular number one about how they build it. Remember how it said cone shape? It talked about how it's a cone shape and they use sticks and mud and how it's like a little lodge. So go ahead and by yourself do regular number one here about how they build their actual house. Ashlyn?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I probably didn't see your hand soon enough. Once you write something here next to regular one, raise your hand and tell me what you got about the beavers' homes. What'd you get, Ashlyn?
I remembered what I was going to say.
Okay.
Are we going to write a story, or are we just going to do this about it?
You're gonna, for your homework, you're gonna actually write the paragraphs.
Okay.
So this
Are
is
we
the part
also
we're gonna
going to
do.
do the camel thing? The camel
Oh,
tent?
no, we will do that next week. We're pausing on that. We just took a break from that. Next week, we'll finish that. London?
I put banks, beavers, dams,
Okay,
and then beavers, mud, lodge.
nice. I like it. Very good. Yes, you got it. Very good. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. You can pick for number two, you can pick another animal. Like if you like the stuff about the termites, that was kind of interesting. Or the wombat or the bald eagle. You've got lots of choices here. Make sure you talk about the animal and where it lives. That's the two main things you want to include here. London?
I started on the termites one.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. I like how they called it like an apartment building and how they have like a nursery for the babies. That's kind of cool. And then a place for the king and queen. So you might need a few numbers here to get all that information on here. You can use more than one. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Animals are so cool. I'm going to give you about one more minute to write down another list of keywords about one of the animals, and then we're going to move on to the third one. I know we're going kind of fast here, but you're going to finish this as part of your homework. But don't worry, Sawyer, I see your note in there where you're not going to have grammar or anything. It's just going to be this, so it's not going to be too bad. All right, so finish up the word that you're working on. And it's okay if you didn't get to 5, that's okay. Just leave the rest blank for a minute because we need to read the last source. So finish up the word that you're on. One more. Okay, source 3 is on this page with the wombat. It's down here. You'll see source number 3. That's going to go with Roman numeral 3. Okay, you're going to match. This one says, you have found an article that discusses plants and animals that live in the same place. The article describes how these plants and animals depend on each other to stay alive. And the name of this article is Don't Step in That Ecosystem. Have you guys ever heard of an ecosystem before? Maybe some of you not. Yeah, okay. This is what this one's about. So let's see what it says. I'm at the bottom here. And like you did before, you're just going to follow along on your paper while I read it, okay? The next time you go out, take a careful look around. Maybe you see a small pond. Plants might be growing in the pond. Birds might take baths in it. And if you're lucky, the pond might even be a home to tadpoles. Any place where plants and animals live and interact or work together with non-living things like air, water, and soil is called an ecosystem. The plants and animals in an ecosystem need each other to survive. It is important that there is a balance among all things in the ecosystem. I see your hand, Sawyer. You're going to have to wait, okay? Let's keep reading first and then I'll answer your question. A small change in any part of the ecosystem can have a big effect. For example, if the food that an animal eats can no longer be found, then that animal will either die or have to leave that ecosystem. When that animal is no longer a part of the ecosystem, then the rest of the living and non-living parts of the ecosystem are affected because all parts of the ecosystem depend on each other. All parts of an ecosystem are connected to each other. Think about an oak tree in the forest. It is a home to the bugs and birds that live in it, in its bark and branches, and to the squirrels who make their nests in its trunk. The oak tree also provides food to other animals in the ecosystem. When its acorns are ripe, they fall to the forest floor. These rich nuts are good food for mice and deer that eat them to fatten up for the winter. Mice save the acorns so they have food in the winter months. And in the spring, hawks swoop down looking for a mouse meal. In a way, the oak tree helps the hawk find its food. This is an example of how the plants and animals in an ecosystem work together in order to survive. Now think of the ocean. Imagine diving into the deep blue water. Near the surface, you see a rocky ridge of coral called a coral reef. The reef is home to many plants and animals. For example, sea plants move back and forth in the current, and fish come to feed or hide from other living things that can be harmful or that can harm them. Coral reefs, in fact, are home to about 1/4 of the fish in the sea. Reefs also attract birds, whales, turtles, and seals. The number and many different types of animals that depend on coral reefs make them one of the most important ecosystems in the world. There are many kinds of ecosystems, and they can be very small, like a pond, or very big, like a coral reef ecosystem. Ecosystems are everywhere. And then it says a definition right here, ecosystem, an area where plants, animals, and other non-living things live and depend on each other for survival. And there's your sources. You don't have to read those. That's just where they found the information. Okay, Sawyer, sorry about that. What do you want to say?
I forgot to do the termites one.
Oh, that's okay. You're going to have time to do it during homework. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry, because you're going to finish all this at homework time. Okay. So this article, this source 3, is about ecosystems. So we're going to start by putting that here. Ecosystem. That's going to be next to number 3 because that's what we learned in source 3. And that's we learned when plants and animals survive together. So I think I'm going to draw a little plant right here. I'll just draw a little plant like that. Plants. And then I'm going to put AN for animals. And I'm going to put survive and together because that's mainly what they're talking about. Lots of different plants and animals that work together to survive. And I thought it was pretty interesting. There's lots of things you can choose to put in your outline. You're not going to write about everything, remember. You're going to pick the ones that you think are the most interesting. And I kind of liked the whole thing about the oak tree. I thought that was interesting because the oak tree has bugs and birds and squirrels that live in it, but it also drops acorns. And then the mice come along and eat the acorn. And then a hawk comes along and eats the mouse. So it's kind of like the food chain, if you've ever heard of that before. So, like, the oak tree provides food for the mouse, and the mouse provides food for the hawk. Ashlyn?
I didn't get time to do the one about like the other animals before the ecosystem, so I didn't hear a lot about the ecosystem ones.
Okay, so you might have to read that by yourself, but like I said, you can leave them blank for now because I needed to make sure to read everything. And then your homework's going to be to finish this, okay?
The
It's
whole
okay if you
thing.
get to finish. Yeah, the whole thing.
So
Yeah.
it's fine if I don't finish all of it.
It's fine if you don't finish it during class because you're going to finish it for homework. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I left mine blank too. So it's okay if you don't have everything written here. That's okay. So you might have to reread the ecosystem later.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm going to suggest starting with that oak tree. I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to put oak and you can copy me if you want, or if you have a different thing to write, that's okay too. I'm going to draw a tree. So I have oak, tree, and then it talks about how the bugs and the birds live in that. I'm going to put that bugs and birds. They live in the branches, right, of the tree, but then it dropped acorns, and you can copy what I have, or you can make your own. It's okay, whatever you guys want to put for yours. The part about the acorns was kind of cool because remember, the mice eat the acorns, and then the hawk eats the mouse. So that's what an ecosystem does. It works together. They need the tree, the mouse, and the hawk. They all work together to survive, except for the mouse is the one that doesn't get to survive very long, right? Because usually the hawk will eat the mouse. So poor mouse. But there's lots of mice out in the world, as you guys know. We have plenty of mice. So not all of them die. Some of them just keep eating acorns. Ashlyn?
I put acorns, mice, hawk, and then like a Pac-Man sign.
Oh, perfect. I love it. That's a good one. Yep. Very good. Anybody else want to share what they put here by acorns? Or if they put something different? Looks like you're still working on it. You guys can keep writing a little bit. Write a few more here about the ecosystems. London?
I finished.
Okay, what did you put?
I put Um, tadpoles, home, pond, squirrels, nest, trunk, coral, ocean, fish, um, oak, bugs, birds, mice, acorns, hawks, and then ecosystem, um, plants survive together.
Wow, that's really good. Some of those you must have drawn some pictures for, huh? That's good. I love it. You're ready. That's really good. So I'm just going to talk to you really quick about what your homework is. Because, like I said, you're not going to worry about grammar or the binder. We're taking a break on the camel story. We'll come back to that one later. You're just going to focus on this. You're going to finish. If you haven't finished all these, that's okay. You're going to finish them during your homework time. But make sure that Roman numeral 1, everything here goes with only source 1. This one, Roman numeral 2, is going to go only with source 2. And this one, Roman numeral 3, is only going to go with source 3. Okay, Ashlyn, did you have a question?
Do we still have to do double space and put all of our keyword our dress ups in there too?
Great question. On the test, you don't have to double space. But for your homework, yes, I do want you to double space, but you don't have to. This is the only time, okay? This is the only time you don't have to underline your dress ups. You just got to make sure they're in there, okay? Because on the actual test, they're not going to know why you underlined stuff, and it may be hard to figure out how to underline stuff. So don't even worry about it on the test.
Don't double space or do the or underline the dress ups.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about double space on the test, okay? Because that might be hard to figure out. So don't even worry about it. Just when you're done writing a paragraph, just hit return on your keyboard and then indent, and then you start your second paragraph. So it looks, so you can tell where your paragraphs start and end. You indent. Remember how to
In
do
the
that?
homework, do I have to do that too?
Yes, on your homework, you have to do that too. Yes.
So I don't have to do anything for my homework. Like just like I have to write the story, but I don't have to underline the dress ups and
Right.
make a new name and
Right, right. Because we're going to practice like it's the actual test, right?
okay.
You're going to practice like that. And on the actual test, you're going to have a box. And inside the box is where you're going to type your answer. So I'll show you that really quick on the internet just so you can see what it's going to look like. Let me show you what it's going to look like. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, so I can't pull it up right now, but look at the very, 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 very back of your packet real quick. Let me show you that. At the very last page of your packet, this one. You see how there's a box right here? This is where you're going to type. This is where you're going to type your 3 paragraphs inside here. And it looks like a lot like what we use for like Word. And you can see bold and underline. Don't even worry about that stuff though. You're just going to start typing, okay? And you're going to type 3 paragraphs. So make sure to indent the first sentence of each paragraph. You're going to just type it here and you can have a lot of space to type. Does anybody have any questions about that part? Okay, that was good. Thank you, Ashlyn, because you do want to use your homemade checklist. Remember this thing. You want to use that for yourself. These are your notes. But you don't have to underline those words on the test. You do for my class, except for this week's homework. You don't have to on this week's homework. But like when we get back into the camel story, you'll go back to underlining and all that and highlighting your topic clenchers. I do think the topic clenchers would help help you get a better score on your test. So try to remember topic clenchers, and you know what we should do right here is make a note. Put a little star and put topic clenchers here. And then that'll help you remember topic clenchers too. You guys know how to do that. But don't worry about highlighting those for the test because they won't know why you did that. Okay. You guys got that? Topic clinchers. And then, like I said, you can put little check marks in here. You know, check these off as you remember in each paragraph to include one of these, each one of those. Okay, we're at the end. So let me just say one more time, because like mine is not finished. So if yours looks kind of like mine, where you have blank numbers, that's what you're going to do first is finish your keyword outline. Finish this first. And then you're going to type 3 paragraphs. That's the other thing. Some of you are not typing yet, but on the test, that's your only option. So you might as well practice a little bit by typing this for your homework too. Even if you have to just use your pointer fingers and you're finding all the letters and you're just doing this, that's okay. It'll take you a while, but that's okay. Just keep going. And like I said, if you need more time than they give you for your test time, that's okay too. You're not timed on it. Does anybody have any questions about this? No, you guys are good? Ashlyn, I see your hand.
I don't have to do the grammar book either.
No grammar.
Because I have to catch up on all the things I have missed.
Oh, that's between you and your mom. So you guys can figure that out later, okay? That's
Yeah,
okay.
because I keep forgetting to do my homework.
Uh-oh.
But
Don't
I've
forget your
been
homework.
doing it now.
You know what I do since you guys have, seriously, I use Post-it notes for everything. I have like 12 of them on my desk right now. If you forget, use a Post-it and put like, do homework. This is what I do. And then I put it up on my wall in my bedroom or something to remind me, or on my door or something. Put do homework, exclamation point. Maybe that'll help you, Ashlyn. Make a little note for yourself. Sawyer?
I did the same thing with my mom. I need to get a new clock because I have a class before this at 9 and it's hard to wake up. So I want an alarm clock.
Oh,
So I just
yeah.
put a post-it note on my mom's desk that says get new clock.
There you go. These are handy. I use them all the time. And the coolest part about it, these, is when you do it, then you can throw it away. I like to crumple them up and throw them away. And it's like, I did it. I'm done with that task. So that's how I use them. Julio, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I still have to catch up too because we're so busy because also on Monday we have a math class.
Oh, yeah.
We do
Okay.
so much service during the week.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
I don't
So
think I'm behind.
also, let me just tell you guys, but talk to your mom or dad or whoever does your homeschooling. If you need a break on the homework, if they say it's okay with me. But you can't just decide by yourself that you're going to take a break. You got to check with your parent and then have your parent message me and tell me, okay, I talked to Sawyer and we decided Sawyer's going to take a break, but it has to come from your parents. Okay. Does that make sense? So if you need a little break and you need to like not do one of the assignments, that's okay with me as long as your parent messages me about that. Okay. Ashlyn,
If that happens, do we still have to do it later?
that's up to your parent.
Okay.
And if your parent doesn't want you to do it later, then I'm okay with that. Because your parent is like your main teacher. I'm just a second teacher. I'm number 2. Your mom or your dad or whoever's doing your teaching is number 1. So it's up to them. Okay. That makes sense to you guys? All righty. That's it for today. You did great. And I will see you next week. We'll go back to the camels paper next week. Okay.
Okay,
Have a good one.
bye.
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 Bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.